Hey YouTube, this is Steve from Average Joe's Fantasy Football. We've got your Week 16, Round 2 of the Fantasy Playoff Edition for the quarterback. Now, hopefully you guys came out victorious. Obviously, that's why you're watching this video. So awesome job to you guys. I came out in a few different leagues. I'm in a lot, so I did win in some, I did lose some. But there were a lot of great games this past weekend. Obviously, we finished off with the Monday night game with the Packers over the LA Rams. Now we are into the thick of it. This is round 2. There are games on Thursday, Saturday for Christmas Eve, Saturday as well, and then Monday. So there's a lot going on. Make sure you're paying attention to the schedule. Make sure you're paying attention to injuries. Like a big one that was announced today with Jalen Hurts. There's a possibility he does not play on Saturday against the Cowboys. So it's going to be Minshew Mania in that one. So there's a lot there. You got to make sure you pay attention. Now, these are your obvious starts at the quarterback position. These are the few quarterbacks I trust going into Week 16 without hesitation. Herbert is an interesting one just because of his performance has been really bad. I don't look at last week's as the one that's going to completely ruin his chance. I like him this week, so I have him as an obvious start. Now, the first quarterback I recommend as a good start is going to be Aaron Rodgers versus the Dolphins. Rodgers could play spoiler to Miami on Christmas Day. The Dolphins have allowed the second most points to quarterbacks with 21.8 and 260 passing yards. Rodgers is trying to fight for a playoff spot. With that win last night, they have a chance to possibly go in and squeak into the playoffs. So they have to win. This is a big game for them. Miami also needs to win. So this is going to be a really fun game to watch. Now, the 11 points that Rodgers put up against the Rams obviously was a big issue. A lot of people are like, well, why would I want to start Aaron Rodgers this week? But realistically, that ground game against the Rams without Aaron Donald, everyone is running on LA. And it showed up. Dylan did really well before his concussion. Aaron Jones actually showed up pretty well. That run game was doing a really good job. They didn't need a lot out of Aaron Rodgers. Against the Dolphins, though, that's a different story. You're talking in Miami. It's not going to be as cold. It is going to be cool this weekend for Florida, so it is going to be a little different, but this is a game that is going to revolve around a high offense, so I like Aaron Rodgers as a nice little start. Another quarterback I like is Geno Smith versus the Chiefs. This game is very important to Seattle. They have to win. Again, playoffs are huge right now. They have to win. So again, Geno's got to show up. Geno didn't have a great game against the 49ers, which again, it's the 49ers. I'm not surprised by that. He only had 15 points, but before that, the 3 games before that 49ers game, he was averaging 22 points a game. Hey, let's be honest. The Chiefs are not a great defense, right? He has a chance to get back to that 20, 22-point range against this defense. The Chiefs are allowing only 248 passing yards, but they're allowing 2 touchdowns per game. So again, this is a game that I believe Geno's going to get to that 20, 22-point mark. So I like him a lot this week. Daniel Jones is another quarterback I really like going into this matchup, going against the Vikings. Vikings obviously gave up a lot of points to the Indianapolis Colts. They did come out victorious, which was one of the craziest games ever that I could recall. So, again, that is a big one. But just like anything else, Daniel Jones and the Giants are fighting for playoffs. Every game matters. This is a big one. Vikings defense does not do a great job stopping the pass. They do allow great points. And again, Daniel Jones's legs are what always tends to save him in fantasy. He's not the greatest quarterback. But the fact is, we don't care about being the greatest quarterback. What can you do for me in fantasy? And being that the fact that he can run the ball, maybe sprinkle in a rush touchdown, throwing past touchdown, he can get you to those 18 to 20 points. And that's what you need out of a quarterback, is around that range. That's what you want. So I like Daniel Jones as a nice little start. Now, as far as my sits, I've got Trevor Lawrence versus the Jets, and I'm going to get some hate for this one. And I know it's kind of a hot take because Trevor Lawrence has been on fire, and I understand that. He did a great job against the Dallas Cowboys. He was playing phenomenally before that game as well. So I do like that. And I get this is, again, kind of a hot take, but T-Law's performance lately against the Jets and Sauce Gardner might be a little different, right? Jets have done a really good job against the quarterback. They just held Jared Goff to 14 points. They held Kirk Cousins to 11 points as well. They even held Josh Allen to only 147 yards and 1 touchdown. So now he did have a good performance because of the ground game, but they held Josh Allen to that. So I like this matchup for the New York Jets and obviously Jaguars. Plus, they're going off of a really short week. It is going to be a very cold game in New York. So again, Florida and cold doesn't always mix. This is going to be a little bit different for the Jaguars. Short week, cold weather, really tough defense. I'm possibly sitting Trevor Lawrence this week if I don't have any other options. Another quarterback I'm sitting this week, and I hate to say it, is Dak Prescott versus the Eagles. Look, Dak is a good fantasy football quarterback. I'm not going to get into the whole thing about, quarterback in general, but in fantasy, he does a really good job. But this is what I'm really nervous about. The Philadelphia Eagles actually are really good against the quarterback as of late. The last 6 games, they've only allowed 13.7 points. Fields did have some success against them with 2 touchdowns, but a lot of it was 95 yards on the ground. Dak does not have that running ability like he used to in his game. So realistically, I'm taking the whole rushing ability out of it. They are going to have to obviously pass to kind of keep this game close. I do think it's going to be a little dogfight. I hate to say it, unfortunately, I do have the Eagles winning, even if Hurts does not play. I just think the Cowboys defense is just struggling completely. And on top of that, Dak is leading in interceptions right now. The last few games, he has done a horrible job. He's throwing the ball to the opposite team. I'm not trusting Dak this week against the Eagles. Now, the last quarterback is Deshaun Watson versus the Saints. Now, I've said Deshaun Watson before, but I keep seeing people starting him or asking about him. Saints have held quarterbacks to 14.6 points the last 5 games. Toughest matchup that they had against was Tom Brady, who had 18 points. Watson did improve. He did a little bit better this past weekend against the Ravens. They did get a win, but that was still 12 points and under 170 passing yards. I don't see a big change in this one. Not against the Saints, not against realistically the rest of the season. So stop asking about Deshaun Watson unless you're desperate or if you're in a 2 QB league, maybe. But I don't like his matchup this week. Again, look at other options. Look at my waivers. There's some good quarterbacks out there. Brock Purdy, for example. Just please stop putting him in there. Now, as far as the sleeper, I've got Sam Darnold versus the Lions. Lions are the worst against the quarterback. They give up a lot of points. If the Panthers are actually going to try to make the playoffs, because they technically are in the hunt, they need to keep up with Detroit's powerful offense. Detroit obviously does a really good job offensively. Lions just gave up 20 points to Zach Wilson, who is not a good quarterback. But again, in fantasy, that's what matters. 20 points is huge. So I like that Sam Darnold has this matchup. You're probably not starting him, but he's a nice little sleeper, especially if you're in a super flex QB. He's one I'd probably put in there as a nice little flex. And again, Lions are allowing 279 passing yards, 23.7 points to quarterbacks. So I like this matchup. So this is my start, sits, and sleepers for the quarterback round 2 of fantasy playoffs. So again, thank you guys so much. Hopefully you checked out our waiver wire video. I've got 6 great players you must consider adding to your roster this week. I'm wishing you guys all the best of luck this week. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel and that notification bell is on, because obviously we'll be dropping more videos just like this. Stay tuned. We'll be dropping our running back, wide receiver, and tight end. Obviously, we've got a great week coming up this week. Make sure you're paying attention. So, again, make sure you guys are staying tuned. Make sure you hit that like button, that subscribe button. Watch the start and sit videos. I'll check you guys out next time.